Welcome back, guys. We are live at Turning Point USA Student Action Summit. We're in Tampa, Florida at the Tampa Convention Center on Media Row. Rejoining us on the show, our dear friend Vince Ellison. Brother Vince, welcome back.
I'm so happy to be with you, brother.
You know, we were on the Rumble stage yesterday, and we barely touched the surface during our live stream, which, by the way, is now above 25,000 views.
Oh, wow. Great.
Because we got featured on the main page.
Oh, my goodness. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we barely scratched the surface, and we had a conversation in Atlanta back in March that was pretty wide-ranging. Like, we went deep. And so I want us to continue that conversation because the audience is going to benefit so much from the work you've did writing, speaking, teaching, and with your documentary. I want to tackle MLK, and I want to tackle the subversion that you've uncovered and understand how that has hurt us as a people, this entire idea of subversion and what's happened and everything. So I'm going to stop. I want you to speak to this, set the stage for us, help us understand what happened and what's going on now for us.
Well, first, RC, thank you. Thank your beautiful wife, Juliana, for what you guys are doing and for what you're doing for the healthy community and to give me the opportunity to talk about this. As you know, we've been going in a wrong direction for a very long time.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it, but we just don't know what it is. And so I always say when you're going in the wrong direction, you have to stop and say, where did I take the wrong turn?
Right.
And then you go backward and say, okay, I took the wrong turn there. And even if you take a shortcut now, you know where you are. And you know why you are where you are. I say we took a wrong turn in 1963.
Okay.
And I say that because when you look at the black community between 1940 and 1960, we had we had the greatest reduction in poverty in the history of the world.
Right.
We went from like 80% to 30% in 20 years. We had our own black universities, our own black high schools and grammar schools. We had our black neighborhoods, we had our black businesses. We were doing well. We were closing that gap. And some say that we had stayed on that same trajectory. Black America now would be where the Indian community now is America, where the Asian community and the Jewish community is. We'd be a minority group doing better than white Americans, but we're not.
Wow.
We went backward. And the question becomes why?
Right.
So you go back to what happened in 1917 in Russia when the communists took over. And they got this organization called the Comintern. And they believed, as Trotsky believed, that the whole world had become communist for communism to survive. So, as you know, they started that domino plan. They got China, went into Vietnam, got most of Eastern Europe, and they were coming to America. They made a plan to go into the civil rights movement. And they were going to use the civil rights movement to infiltrate the Democratic Party and make it part of the communist movement. And they did it with the civil rights movement. So Stanley Levinson, the #1 communist in America, Martin Luther King meets him after the Montgomery bus boycott. Stanley Levinson, he starts the SELC. He writes the paperwork up for it, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of Martin Luther King Jr. He raises the money for it. He writes King's speeches. He does King's book deals. Then he gets Bayard Rustin, another communist. Bayard Rustin organizes the March on Washington. He organizes all of the marches and all of the civil disobedience. And then he gets Jack Odell, another communist, runs the SELC. He is the executive director of the SELC, and another communist, Clarence Jones, is King's personal attorney. All four of these guys are the engine behind Martin Luther King Jr. John F. Kennedy comes to King before the March on Washington. He says, I know you know you're under surveillance. That's lawyer talk for telling him you're under surveillance. You got three guys in your organization who are communists and they have to go. Jack Odell, Bayard Rustin, Stanley Levinson. The president knows their names.
Wow.
Martin Luther King Jr. says they're not communists. Do you think I pulled these guys' names out of a hat? I'm the president. I know their names. You need to get rid of them because if you go down, I go down. I hooked myself to you. Don't let me down. King said to get rid of them. Well, J. Edgar Hoover was watching these communists and heard about this great big meeting of communist spies in Dorchester, Georgia. He put up some cameras to see who's going to be there, and King showed up, and that's the spies. He goes back to Bobby Kennedy and says, I thought he's going to cut these guys loose. And that's when Bobby Kennedy said, watch out. We cannot trust him. We want to make sure that the communists are not going to use the civil rights movement to destroy America.
Wow.
And after King dies, all of the communists that infiltrated the civil rights movement jump straight to the Democratic Party. And that's when all the social justice foolishness, all the affirmative action, all the expansion of government, all of the great society stuff with welfare and the man out clause and expansion of Medicaid and LGBTQ and abortion. All of this comes into play, and it comes through the Democratic Party from the civil rights movement. We have to look back at this movement and say that when Dr. King told us in 1963, that 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the Negro is still not free, that was a lie. We were born free. If you're a Christian, Jesus Christ said, he who the Son has freed is free indeed. The book of Galatians said, for freedom Christ set us free, so do not submit yourself to the bondage of slavery. We are free. John Locke said that our freedom is an unalienable right given by God.
Right.
It's irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. You can't sell it. And Thomas Jefferson used that term, unalienable rights, in our Declaration of Independence. They said we are free. We were born free. We do not ask government for our freedom. We defy government to come try to take it from us. They can't touch our freedom. But King went to Washington, D.C., asking government to affirm our freedom. And based on our Christian beliefs, when you ask for the affirmation of man, you just sinned against God, because we're supposed to please him and not man.
Vince, so I'm blown away. I think you probably hear this from many people who hear it. What you're explaining to me is that what we understand to be the greatest gathering for civil rights in the history of the United States, and one of the greatest speeches,
Yes.
or some of the greatest speeches that
Yes.
are considered to be the best in the history of the United States,
Yes.
were written by communists.
Yes, it was. He asked the question in there, when will we be satisfied? He said, we will never be satisfied. Not until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. That's a fancy way of saying never. And now 60 years later, they're still riding in the streets, never satisfied.
Wow.
That's what Trotsky talked about. Consistent revolution. Never satisfied.
Right.
Always revolution. Always revolution. He said, I'm dreaming about a day. Then one day, that my 4 little children won't be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. But what's wrong with the color of my skin? Am I supposed to walk behind of a white racist asking him not to judge me by the color of my skin, apologizing for being black? Of course not. You don't do it and I don't do it. But he's dreaming about a day that man will be pleased with him. When our Christian religion tells us we're not to be concerned about that at all. We're supposed to be concerned about whether God is pleased with us. Because if you're walking around trying to please man, you set a trap for yourself. This is where the drugs, this is where the promiscuity, this is where the bowing and the scraping comes in. Trying to please man. I'm not trying to please man. Well, he thinks he's superior to me. I don't care what he thinks. It's not what I think. I'm an heir of Jesus Christ. I'm a child of God. I cannot be oppressed. They're talking about white supremacy or systemic racism or white privilege. Hell, I got privilege.
Yeah, right.
I was born with a great family. I was born with 2 great parents. I was born an heir of Jesus Christ and a child of God. I ain't giving up my privilege to anybody.
No.
Somebody has a privilege to be white. Well, there's a privilege to be white. But it's also a privilege to be black.
See?
It's a privilege to be Hispanic.
Yes.
It's a privilege to be Asian.
Yes.
It's a privilege to be alive in America.
Yes.
So we talk about their privilege. What about your privilege? And so we want to give away our manhood to these people. And I reject that, but that's what the civil rights movement did. And this is why now you'll have whole grown men walking the streets of America saying that they're victims, saying they're oppressed, saying they're afraid. And then you want to call yourself an American? Stinks in my nostrils. And we have to start confronting that.
Vince, I got to tell you that as I think about this and what the spin out was, we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the show. We talked about Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and I mentioned the term poverty pimp.
Yeah.
Now, much like you, in that process, I was always kind of a watchdog in this. I read the book Shakedown when I was a kid, and I'm like, I could tell that we were being hustled, even though members of my family thought this was the greatest thing ever. And I called them what they were, poverty pimps.
Yes, they are.
Right? And now this was a Wikipedia entry. Like this was in you could find it online for years. I was working in Minneapolis running a radio station. I was running the black station, KMOJ. I'll just say it because I don't care now. It's been 20 years. And they said, some of the community leaders came and said, we're going to bring Al Sharpton in to speak. And I'm like, why would you bring a poverty pimp in to speak? They were righteously offended. And they said, well, is the radio station going to get behind it? I said, no, and I'll explain to you why. One, he's a poverty pimp. But let me go further. I bet you he's going to charge you $35,000 or so. And they're like, how'd you know? I'm like, because that's what a poverty pimp does. For 20 minutes, which was also accurate.
Wow.
And brother Al had to fly first class, but his team could fly coach. He had to stay at the top of a 5-star hotel. His staff could stay anywhere. And I'm like, do you all see any problem whatsoever?
Goodness.
I said, you will not get an announcement or a PSA or anything else out of me. Well, what if we run an ad campaign? I will turn it down and return your money.
Wow, good for you.
And they asked me why.
Good for you.
And I said, I refuse to poison my people any more than they've already been poisoned with this foolishness.
Good for you.
And so for me, hearing that and now really understanding how much further back this goes, Vince, it's like it's one of those where you see it where you're at, and then you take us back,
Mm-hmm.
and then we come forward,
Mm-hmm.
and what we see today makes so much more sense
Right.
than it did before.
Yes.
Even before we met.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson had me on his show,
Yeah.
and it was almost a 3-hour interview. And Tucker asked me all of these questions, and he let me go on these subjects here. Got close to 1 million views. Got close to 600,000 on Rumble. And Tucker told me it's one of his top 3 interviews ever.
Yeah.
Because we took the lid off all of this. And I told Tucker, to your point, I said, if you want to see the contempt that the left has for Black America, look on MSNBC and look at Al Sharpton and Joy Reid.
Huh.
They have given these people platforms and have given them the moniker of leaders of Black America.
Come on.
And Al Sharpton, and you know his story from Tawana Brawley up until now. He's never been nothing but a lion of trouble, and they know it now. It's not like the people at MSNBC didn't know this when they hired him.
Right.
That he had lied his way, but this is how they see us. They see Black people like they see Al Sharpton and like they see Joy Reid. They see us with the ultra perm, and they see us walking around looking like pimps. They see us, they call us, they still we believe we fried chicken and watermelon.
Yep.
That's who they believe we are. When you look at the daggum Olympics, they want to have Black people displayed in the Olympics. They want Flavor Flav and Snoop Dogg. That's who they see us as. They don't see us, me and you. When they see people like me and you, they're like, these Black people exist?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, we do. But these are not the ones they are around. They are around the beggars, the victims. And these Black people make them feel superior. And they like that.
Yep.
They like being you saw the color purple.
Yes.
I call them the Miss Millie Democrats. Oh, I love the colors. Oh, your children are so clean. The ones that look at us like we're special needs children. As opposed to men.
What a great description.
And I'm telling them, yes, one day I will be elderly. And I'm going to need help. That day is not today. I have a special needs child and she needs help. We need to watch her. But that's not me. We are men. And as we live our life today as the men and the caretakers of our community, we're going to demand that you treat us like men.
Right.
Abraham Lincoln said, when he came to Richmond and the Black people started bowing to him, he said, stand up. He said, God made you free, not me. I did not set you free. God made you free. And when your so-called masters who have deprived you of your freedom, when they come to you and they don't believe that you are free, it is up to you to teach them that you are free by using the sword and the bayonet. Abraham Lincoln said, I'm not going to be with you all the time. You have to stand up. You have to be men. This is what we have to tell Black men today. Stop the begging, stop the crying, stop the sniveling. This is America. And in America, we don't beg. We don't ask. I take if I want it. I earn it, but I will never beg you for it.
Vince, what is the biggest threat today in this space and going forward that we need to be vigilant about?
Right now, the biggest threat to America is internal. It's not communist China. It's not Russia. It is not Iran. Abraham Lincoln even understood. He said that nobody can come and take America by force. We must live together as free men or we must die by suicide. Liberalism in America, it rests its head in the Democratic Party is the biggest threat to this country. An anti-God ideology, an anti-family ideology, a belief in secular humanism where there are no truths in this world. What is a man and a woman? What we say it is. What is marriage? What we say it is. What is an immigrant? What we say it is. What is an American? What we say it is. Wow. There is no definition of anything. And hell is a place where all things are permitted. These guys are trying to even make prostitution legal,
right?
Drugs legal. They got safe injection centers, so you don't have to work for a living. All of this stuff is as insanity that they place as completely anti-American. Both of us can't be right.
Right.
So there is a real ideological civil war happening in this country right now. It is the Christians that really believe in Jesus Christ, the conservatives, the people of God with Judeo-Christian values, and it's the left. And the left are a cabal of perverts, liars, psychopaths, anti-Christian bigots, and then I've added thugs, hoes, and rappers with them. They're a bunch of crazy ingrates, and I can't stand it.
I got to tell you, Vince, I'm glad you mentioned that because I had something in my head, and then you got going, and I was on that. So speaking of pimps, hoes, and other weirdos, I understand that Snoop Dogg now has the Death Row Gospel Choir.
Oh, come on, man.
Care to comment?
I'm not surprised. You know they got that little queer gospel group that was nominated for a Grammy.
Yes.
The Harlem Gospel Travelers.
Yes.
So, and they thought it was a queer gospel group. How do you even come up with that? I mean, could you just be a gospel group? Why you got to put the queer in front of it? And now you got Snoop Dogg doing this. I'm not surprised. Their job is to debase the culture.
Thank you.
Debase it.
Thank you.
And they're smart because the great writer Thomas Wolfe said that our culture is the arts elevated to a set of beliefs.
Oh.
And so the arts control the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they got early in the 80s and 90s. They grabbed the arts.
Yes, they
and
did.
then the arts controlled the culture.
Yep.
And they're still trying to grab it. What you and your wife are doing right now, you guys are grabbing the arts back. What you're doing now, this is the arts. We're elevating the arts now. Mm-hmm. What Charlie Kirk is doing here, this is art.
Yep.
We are teaching people. We're on television. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're not asking permission any longer.
Correct.
We're going around the legacy media. Mm-hmm. And so Snoop Dogg and the rest of these guys, they can do that, but then we'll do this. We'll show them that our ideas are better than yours. Right. Look at your inner city. I'll show you my suburbs. Amen. Look at your public schools. I'll show you my private schools. Yeah. Look at your clubs, and I'll show you my churches. We will show you our ideals are better, and we'll let the people decide. Let them vote with their feet.
You know, it's amazing. I was having a conversation with the founder of Real America's Voice earlier today, and the quality of person, you can tell a lot. When we met, there was this connection. It's like the quality of the person and the man that you're dealing with shows.
Yes.
And others can recognize that. So I'm talking with him over here at the booth, and we're talking about stuff going on and what he's going to do. There's going to be a faith and family channel that they're going to do on this. And so he shook my hand. And when he shook my hand, he started praying with me. And I went up to him after and I said, I want to thank you for that, because we don't do that with each other enough.
Yes, that's correct.
And the fact that you recognized that we needed to do it means a lot. And he said, I am guided by what my father tells me.
Oh, that's amazing. That's good.
And so I think, Vince, to your point about taking back the arts, what we feel like is happening is Father's bringing the hands and the feet together. He's now, we were working at silos, now he's bringing us together.
Yes.
Because the wave is coming.
Yes.
And
it's coming.
The victory that you're talking about and the respect level that you're talking about is the next step.
It is. America's not a mistake.
No.
God put this country here, and we have been striving for 250 years. Sometimes we stumble, sometimes we fall. But what do? We beat the British Empire. We then saved the world in the First World War. Then we saved it against Nazis. Then we saved it against communism. Yep. Then we saved it against radical Islam. It's always been America. We've always been that country that said, all we want from you is enough soil to bury our soldiers on if they die defending you. We don't want to take over your country. We don't want to take your people and destroy them. Think about if any other country in the world had the power the United States of America had and what they do to the world. Wow. Think about the Soviet Union had. Think about if China had the power we had. They don't have it. We keep them in check. We stopped their worldwide takeover. We did it. And we've always been here for the world. The world looks to America.
That's right.
And as long as America is a godly, God-fearing country, God will always protect us. And this is why Donald Trump being back in office is not a fluke. Amen. All of this was preordained. All of it was planned so that we can correct our country, put it back on course, and save it for the next 3,000 years. And we're going to do it.
Vince, there's never enough time, so we're just going to have to do more of these. Where can people find all your information?
You can go VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That's my website, VinceSpeaksTruth.com. My podcast, The Vince Ellison Show, on Rumble, on YouTube, on X. And then when you get on my website, you're going to see my 4 best-selling books, my documentary where you go to Help for Me. Then I go and I speak around. I'll be speaking here tomorrow in Tampa for the Brexit Liberation Day. It's going to be fun, man.
Vince, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
All right. We'll be back, everyone.